Okay. So as you all know, Monday afternoon at about 4:30, right behind us in this tea alley, Tyshawn Lee was murdered in probably the most abhorrent, cowardly, unfathomable crime that I've witnessed in 35 years of policing. We're here today to give you an update on where we are and to ask for some help, because while we've got a lot of information coming in, we don't have that tidbit and we don't have that person who's putting us over the top that's going to make this a case that we can make an arrest on right now. Pretty certain that we know the circumstances of what occurred, and I'm going to share some of that with you. And I want to be clear that at this point, we believe that Tyshawn was targeted, lured to this spot, and murdered. And we believe that this is the most recent in a series of gang-related violent events that may go back as far as August, may go back a little further than that. We've got a lot of information, like I said, coming in, but we need some help from the community. We need somebody to step forward. We've got about $35,000 right now of reward money that's out there, and we're hoping that might motivate some folks to come forward. But I really want you to understand that at this point, we're pretty certain that this is not an accident. He was not a bystander. And we believe that this is all related to, we know the two groups, we know the individuals involved in both groups, and proving who did what is where we are right now, and that's where we need some assistance. So I'll answer whatever questions you have in a few moments, but first, my friend Father Mike Flager is going to say a few words. We're joined here today by a number of folks from the community and the police department, obviously. Pam Bosley, I'm sure you all know. Andrew Holmes is also with us, both victims of gun violence in that they lost family members. Lamar Johnson is also here with Father Flager from the community, and obviously we have our detectives hopefully looking to find something out today. All right, but we'll come back to that in a moment. Father Flager.
Thank you, Superintendent. Thank you, Superintendent. As the Superintendent mentioned, what happened to Tyshawn Lee took us to a new low. This wasn't a drive-by. This was not a spray of bullets. A baby was executed. A baby was assassinated right behind us in this alley. This has grieved hearts and touched hearts across America, as it should. But it's got to do more than touch us, because we have gone to a new low that's removed what used to be some codes, some barriers, some lines that used to be drawn in the community, some things in the city that was not acceptable. It's given an okay to cowards. Now we're going to target family members, we're going to target mothers, we're going to target grandmothers, we're going to target babies. There's an execution of a baby took place on our watch in the city of Chicago. We must now put the code back. We've got to draw the line back. We've got to put the barriers back, saying this here is not going to be tolerated. It's not going to be tolerated in the city of Chicago as long as we're still citizens in Chicago. We're needing people to turn in this coward. As the superintendent mentioned, I've gotten a lot of calls, and the police have gotten a lot of calls. A lot of information has come in from the community, and we're grateful for that. But we need someone to take the next step. We need now someone to come forward now and say, you know what, my conscience will not allow me to be quiet while a baby was executed in this city. Take the next step. There's a $35,000 reward, as I mentioned now, that is already out there. I've received a whole bunch of calls from people across the country who are saying, how can we help, or how can we be involved with the reward fund? We set up today a GoFundMe account for this award, for this reward. You'll get information. We'll be emailed that to all the media immediately after this. But today I just want to say, whatever it takes, and people say, well, why do we need a reward? Whatever it takes to motivate somebody to say, this is not going to be allowed, please do it. Finally, I just want to speak to the conscience of anyone who's listening. For God's sake, for your sake, for Tyshawn's sake, don't just shake your head and say this was terrible. Come forward. Call the police. Call us at St. Sabina. Do something. Too much time has already passed while this executioner, this murderer, this assassin is still free. Too much time has passed. Please, please turn in the person now. Let's get him off the street.
Andrew Holmes.
Andrew Holmes. First of all, thank the detectives, thank the Chicago Police Department. I'd like to thank the community for not pointing the fingers at the Chicago Police Department, but stand up and speak out. If you want to make the change, you have to make the change, and you have to make it overnight. These individuals, these perpetrators, should have been in custody the night this happened. But we need more information. Tyshawn Lee, during his 9 years, had a lot of homework in school. Now it's time for the community to do the rest of his homework. And the rest of that homework is standing up and speaking out. Call in and give us some solid information on these individuals before we lose another child. This could have been your child. And we ask that through the Almighty, gracious name, that you call and these individuals do be in custody tonight. Don't go another night and let these individuals sleep somewhere while this baby is still resting. Please, I'm asking you, as a community, as a unit, stand up. Let's start pointing the finger and let's fight back with our mouth and through prayers. Any way you have to get this information to the Chicago Police Department or to St. Sabina, or you can use my national 1-800 number, 1-800-883-5587. Fight back, please, but fight back peaceful and call the Chicago Police Department and give them the information that they need to make this arrest.
Thanks, Andrew. Okay, so I know you're going to have a lot of questions for us.
What specifically leads you to believe now the likelihood that the young man was lured to this location?
You know, I'm not sure we want to give out specifics. We don't want those individuals to know what we know. And I hate to do that to you, but the circumstances as described to us, we do have some witnesses who have kind of put some of this stuff into our laps, but we don't have the ones that are putting us over the top right now. We're pretty certain that we know exactly how it occurred. We know when it occurred. We're pretty certain that we even know the individuals involved. But we need a little bit more to make sure that that happens. We definitely know which groups. Like I said, we're looking at a number of incidents back to back to back over the course of a few months that we believe are very clearly related. And we believe that this is the result of that gang violence and this child's relationship, family relationship with a member of a gang.
What happened with this person of interest this morning? He was let go, released. What happened with him?
Well, he's a person of interest based upon the circumstances that we've been able to put together. He came in with an attorney, made no statements to us, and therefore was not arrestable. He's a person of interest. Well, we believe that this is Tyshawn's father, has ties to a certain gang that is in conflict with another gang. And his role in those events right now, we're trying to tie them together like we are the rest of this heinous crime, to put it to rest. No. As a matter of fact, let me put it this way. We've tried to interview him at least twice. I can't even tell you what he said because he can't say it on TV, but he made it emphatically clear that he's not cooperating with us.
So you served 2 search warrants targeting his father last night?
I'm sorry?
There were 2 search warrants served targeting his father last night? I've seen a copy of
I don't know, is that a question?
Well, yes. How does that relate to your investigation?
Like I said, we're looking at a number of incidents that are tied together here. Whatever his role is in those events is what we're examining. I'm not going to speak about search warrants or any other investigatory steps that we're taking right now.
Do you think Tyshawn's father could have a clue as to who did this?
He may. I don't think he's a witness to it, so I'm not sure how he could help us, but I can tell you this. I'm a father. Many of us here are fathers, and my reaction would be a little bit different.
So,
You know what? I'm sorry. I shouldn't even speak like that. My reaction would be very clearly different.
Mr. Stokes has posted a video online of the aftermath of what he maintains on the video. It was a police raid his some female friend's home, and there's some broken doors and so forth, and he says they had no right to come in here and do this. I hardly know this woman. I never stay here, and I don't know why they were doing this.
I can't comment on that. I mean, we execute a search warrant based upon a judge's order. So whatever he says about it, I'm not going to respond to it.
Superintendent, there's obviously a code of silence going on here. Is it crossover?
I'm sorry, Pat. Let me just say something. There's a little bit more that's going on. There's fear. Because, like Father Flager describes, you know, this is a different level. This is a different level of something that we're involved in. These are non-combatants now being assassinated. So, rightfully so, there's fear. And it's incumbent on us, not only in the Chicago Police Department, but certainly in law enforcement, to do everything we can to help anybody who wants to help us with this case maintain their own security. And we'll take those steps. We'll take anonymous calls. We'll take follow-ups that we'll keep as quiet as we possibly can. And we have an obligation in law enforcement to provide some sort of security for those individuals. And I think that's playing a much greater role because everybody's sick. Everybody's disgusted about this. I'm sorry, Pat. I didn't let you finish your question.
Are they accessories to this crime?
Other people in the alley.
There have been various reports that that shooter was not alone. He was there with several fellow gang members. Are they accessories to this crime?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that right now. We're looking for a couple of people. It's not one person that we're interested in. So we'll see how that pans out and what we can prove.
Superintendent, how frustrating is it for the men and women, the detectives, the commanders, the sergeants, and many standing behind you who are working to solve this case? What is it like for them? What is the discussion happening? Because there must be insurmountable frustration from police who often get blamed for this case. Clearly, you have dozens of people working on trying to solve this.
So here's what I'm going to do. Fred Waller is the deputy chief in charge of Area South. He was the district commander here in the 6th District. Rodney Blissett is the commander now. But I think Fred could speak a little bit about the frustration that he's feeling, officers from the 6th District and the police department in general, and then we'll see if some of our detectives want to say something. Go ahead, Fred.
Speaking to that question, the frustration is unbelievable. This is in almost 30 years as a policeman, I've never seen anything like this. 6th District is basically my home. I've served in '86. I was here as a patrolman. I was here as a commander. So 6th District is my home, and I've never seen anything like this. So the frustration runs deep. All the officers, everybody's working doubly hard, trying to find any type of leads or anything that we can do to try to solve this heinous crime. Exactly. Not betrayed, but it's just frustrating. The frustration is unbelievable. I can't even explain the feeling to see what we saw in this alley just a few yards behind us. It's a crime. It's something that you could not even dream of.
Understanding these neighborhoods, can you also understand why people are fearful to come home?
There's a certain degree of fear, and you have to get past that. There's a lot of good citizens. This is one of the best middle-class communities in the city. So you have to get past that because there's a lot of good people. And a lot of people want to come forward, and they have. And that's going to continue. I think people are starting to get past that barrier a little bit. But it's other agencies like the state's attorney's office that has to help us also with some of that.
Someone came in with an attorney last night. If they are afraid, what do you suggest they do? I know Father Flaker mentioned going to this church. What do you recommend people do?
So let me just do this. I'm going to have one of our detectives speak for a second, and then I'll follow up and I'll answer all of that, okay?
Good afternoon. It's frustrating. It's the best word to describe, what we deal with on a daily basis. There is fear. There's mistrust. And as was stated by, my co-workers here, we do have to get past that. This is a city that we all have to live in. And it's a city that you should be proud to live in. It's a city that I'm proud to serve for the last 23 years. So we are out here working diligently to see what we can do to put these people behind bars.
What would you say to people who maybe why is this different? Why is now the time to speak?
We don't want anything like this to ever happen again. It should not have happened in the first place. So the only way to get past this is to help us, which in turn helps the community.
Let me.
Can you tell us your name, sir?
I am a Detective Timothy Oliver, 23-year veteran of the Chicago Police Department.
Timothy Oliver?
Oliver, yes.
You know, one of the things that I think I could speak on behalf of everybody here, you know, as a police officer, I'm in my 35th year, Tim's in his 23rd year. You see a lot of bad things, right? And the things that affect us the most are children and seniors, the most helpless individuals when things happen to them. And you can't help but take it personally sometimes, and you can't help but have it affect you, quite frankly.
You were speaking a minute ago using terms combative and the fear that is prevalent. Using those terms combative, that sounds like terms that you would use in, is this war?
We've got two gangs that are going at it. They are mutual combatants. They are criminals, and they are combatants. And that's what I'm referring to. This is an innocent child. This is a 9-year-old child, targeted, lured to this spot, and murdered. This is different.
Given that the murderers killed a child, can you offer additional protection to someone who comes forward? Because clearly, you know, you're not just taking your own life at risk if you come forward in this case.
Look, it takes courage to do the right thing sometimes. And at the end of the day, when good people stand up, we're going to win. That's what's going to happen. We're going to solve this crime, by the way. We're going to solve this crime with or without the assistance of God knows who. We're going to make this case. There's no doubt in my mind that these men and women are going to make this case.
Superintendent, you talk about crossing the line. In your investigations, have you heard of any other cases where family members are being targeted or family members are being talked about being targeted?
We've seen a couple of cases recently that may indicate that. Can't say specifically if it's true yet because we haven't solved those cases. But we have seen a couple of incidents where we believe that they were not stray bullets, that some folks, based upon geography and perhaps a relationship with somebody else, has been targeted for violence.
Has there been any retaliation?
The code of silence is extending to Tyshawn Lee's father. Why else wouldn't he come forward and cooperate?
You're going to have to ask him, quite frankly. You know, I don't even know what to say about that. I've seen this before. We've seen it, right? We could go back to the West Side on the 4th of July, can't we? We saw it then. We're seeing it again today. Children getting murdered because of somebody else's involvement in criminal activity. I mean, what do you think about that? Go ask him.
Can I make one comment on the fear?
Go ahead.
I wanted to make one comment on the fear level that was just spoken about, is that I understand that that's very real. But there comes a point when your fear is either going to paralyze you or your fear is going to motivate you. And we got to get to the point where our conscience overrides our emotions. And I just want to say, this is not St. Sabina now, this is Mike Flagler. If some person comes forward and gives the information and make this arrest, and they say, well, they're afraid, I will personally help them relocate to another city out of my pocket. If that will help them, if they know that they can move someplace, they can get help, so I'll do whatever it needs to do, because this is not acceptable.
All right, guys, thank you.
One last question, please, sir.
Go ahead, Pat.
You talk about, you know, that these are two gangs going at it. In the bigger picture, is there a way to go after them in terms of, like, you know, a RICO thing, or?
Yeah, we do that. Look, we do a lot of things that absolutely works with gangs. We see it time and again. I mean, I've talked to you all about our crime strategy for 4+ years now. We have probably one of the most comprehensive, complicated crime strategies that focuses on the people, places, and things that cause crime. But at the end of the day, we have a criminal justice system that is not supporting that. You hear me talk about it all the time. If those guns aren't here, if these kids are throwing rocks at each other, we're in another place, aren't we?
That's right.
But that's not the case. These are bullets that are flying. And you know what? It doesn't take a big man to hold a gun versus use their hands or something along those lines. It's cowardly. And that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with cowards. And it's I don't even have words for this, quite frankly. Thanks.